Hey, everyone, Dr. Kennard here with Dr. Tomfoolery, boring guy. I don't know. I'm skeptical about that analysis of your personality, sir. Tobin Templeman, and of course, 420 Atheist. Hope you're all doing well this morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, well enough.
Yeah, I'm
Mist
trying not
matter.
to swim away over here. It's coming down pretty hard.
Wow. So are you on a hill, Tobin? I mean, I know that you're building a small house, but I imagine you'd want to build on a hill because you don't want your small house to flood.
No, that's definitely one of the benefits to the region that I've picked is I am on a very large hill.
Good. That's good.
And all the water is going down to a big old lake.
There, we are also on a hill, but kind of like not on the top of it. Like the apex of the hill is down the street. So we don't have a basement, and the water doesn't, but our neighbors actually got flooded out pretty badly a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it is tiresome. I lived down in Seabrook, which is right on the bay of Texas. And it was something that you had to deal with, at least every 4 years, give or take, you were going to get flooded.
Yeah,
and it gets really taxing after a while. It's no fun.
Is it a hurricane right now? I mean, I remember hearing that Texas was getting hit with either a tropical storm or a hurricane, something like that. Is that this storm system right now?
Oh man, you caught me slipping. I usually keep up with the weather better than this, but I totally missed that yesterday. I did not check the weather. I actually woke up really, really early this morning, and I heard the sprinkles, and I had left tools outside that should not get wet, and I was like, man, I gotta go get those.
I know that fear. I've had that fear before when I had a home. Yeah, like a house. So Paul Camish is in the
When
chat.
you had a home, Andy.
When I had a house.
When you were loved.
Well, no. When I was in a 20-year marriage, which I'm happily divorced. And I think there should be and I know I've said this before, but I think in the, when people ask you about whether or not you've been married, I think happily divorced should be an option as against just divorced.
Right? It's so prevalent nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm happily single.
Happily single. There should be happily single, right? Yeah, I think.
And there should be never married, not just single.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got a family. I've got kids to 2 different people. A very full life, but I'm not single.
Right.
But I would have to tick single essentially, unless they have like a partnered option.
Partner. Right.
I mean, legally it's de facto in Australia once you've lived together for 3 months.
Really? You got some common law marriage over there, huh?
Wow.
But yeah, never married should be an option.
So
that shows up on forms around here.
What was that, Dr. Tom?
Never married is on forms around here at times.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. So the forms in your case, Sam, should say married enough, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking before the show started that no after party tomorrow, no open room tomorrow because I have to work on the secret project, which should, and I'm actually excited about this. And I know I've been talking, yapping it up recently, but I am excited about it. It's coming out. Should be in a little bit over 2 weeks, I guess. Should be. I don't know.
Well, if it's if it just turns out to be like a little 4-minute video, Andy, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I try not to oversell things.
After all this waiting.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be at least 5 minutes, I think.
It's got to be 5 minutes. That's right. I remember when the Segway was being promoted, right? Before the Segway came out, they were talking about this device that was going to change life forever. And then it just came out to be a shitty Segway. And it's like, this is what all the hype was about? Oh, that kind of sucks.
They're promoting it as
Then,
the greatest thing that was ever going to change humanity, and it was just the Segway human transport.
Yeah.
but worse than that, someone had the balls to think, how can we take this dangerous and failed device and make it worse? And someone said, let's take the handle off it.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll call it a hoverboard.
Hoverboard, exactly.
Evil. How dare, it's blasphemy, I say.
Yeah. I
It's
agree.
misrepresentation. It's not a hoverboard. It's not what a hoverboard should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the handle is just totally unnecessary and give you a false sense of security.
Well, speaking of someone who's vertically challenged, as in I fall down, I like sometimes having a false sense of security. Like I've been able to navigate a Segway pretty well. I have yet to master a skateboard of any shape or size, or and I, in my younger days, of course, I did try, but that just never really happened.
And
my favorite story about the Segway was George W. Bush falling off of one. That was my favorite.
Oh, the Bush falling off one?
Yeah.
I just realized it's my 32nd wedding anniversary today. Wow. Did Facebook remind you? The only reason why I remember a lot of crap is because of Facebook.
So
I like those 2-year. I like those little notifications.
Oh, so do I.
I glitched right when you said your favorite story about the Segway, Grant. Well, but was it the guy going off the cliff on it?
No, it's George Bush falling off of it.
I feel it bears mentioning anytime Segways are talked about that for anyone who doesn't know, the guy that invented it died by it. He actually rode it off a cliff, lost control, and
wow. How do you lose control?
Because it's just it's controlled by leaning it forwards or back. So and what do you do when you're going downhill is your weight goes forward, and so the thing wants to go faster.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's really funny that most of the time, most of us, people are like really paranoid about other people getting us. And then whenever it turns out it's like you end up killing yourself, unintentionally, it's just like, damn.
Yeah. No, you're spot on with that, Tobin. Is that you, or worse, the people that you run with? Like that guy who got shot by his buddy supposedly drive. It's either you're going to hurt yourself or one of your people in your crew are going to do something stupid and get you hurt.
I think I don't know if this was the case with the inventor, but they were doing tours, and I think still do tours like through bush and over cliff tops and things, and along little tracks. And I think it was something along those lines. He probably went over.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's hard. Paul Camber says, no, you lot talking about marriage reminded me of your 32nd anniversary. Well, just one of the many services we provide here, Paul. The bill is in the mail, my friend. We just saved your marriage. Maybe not, But.
In fact, that would be an interesting stream. Inventors who died by their own invention.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah, a lot of them got Darwin Awards even.
Yep. 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 Because oh geez, who was it? It was I think back in the 18th century maybe. There was someone a chemist who just thought tasting chemicals was a good idea. I forget who it was. Not once.
This reminds me of the statement, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Oh, that is more true than not. Yeah. What's up, Big Zebra? Yeah. There's a lot of stupid prizes in the world.
What was it? It was some man, it happened a long time ago, and I think this stuff is called radium. It's a chemical.
Oh yeah.
And
that's right.
women, it's like painted on the ends of clock, the arms on a clock,
Mm-hmm.
and they're painted on the end of it to glow.
Yeah.
And when they're applying these little marks on it, they I forget how they came about the idea, but they were licking the paintbrush to straighten out the hairs. They thought it was benign, but
not so much.
Yeah.
Oh, see, here it is. Dragons of Genesis. Welcome, if I haven't said that already. There's a book entitled Radium Girls about that. Horrible story. Yeah. A quick Google search is that radium is highly radioactive, in case you didn't know. Just by the name, I guess, but it is highly radioactive, yeah.
My favorite story about radium in those days is they actually would put it into makeup because it helped make your skin glow.
Sweet, dude. Sweet.
Advertising was not wrong. It did help it make it glow, but.
So Sam, 420. What are you showing us here? What do we got?
I just googled Darwin Awards.
Is it loaded? Can you see the end of the barrel?
How does this work? Click.
It's not a toy. I think that's what they tell people. Guns are not toys.
People would put lots of dangerous stuff in makeup back in the day. The lead makeup to make your skin white, because lead is one of the greatest ways of making a very white pigment. Radium makeup, just all sorts of nonsense.
And I saw something the other day, and it seems obvious now once you hear it, but they were talking about how we've used mercury throughout our history, like just in everyday life, in so many things, until quite recently.
Sure.
And you just wonder how we survived as a race, really.
Not well. Nasty, brutish, and short. I have a bunch of concepts, ideas off the top of my head. Dragons points out the women, just being referenced, were literally taught to lick the brushes, and that radium was safe. When they got sick, they were fired and it replaced. It's funny how a lot of these horrible stories, direct relationship with capitalism. Right there.
Yeah.
And if
profit before people.
Oh yeah, consistently. Whether you're talking about Facebook today or about big clock 100 years ago with radium paint, it's pretty much the same. Oh, Deep Parks, dropping some sunshine here. Speaking of Darwin Awards, I saw an article yesterday claiming Republican voters are now dying at 4 times the rate of Democratic voters. Not sure if it's a solid source. All right, well that's fair. And Tesla Ranger, who's usually pretty good about dropping links, reliable news links too. He says he heard 5 times. Y'all making me feeling like I should stay in this country and not move away.
So I was watching a part of a documentary here in Australia where it was families of disabled people who are worried about us opening back up because federally we only have to reach 80%.
Yeah.
And it was something she said made me think about numbers that I'd like to mention now.
Yeah.
She said, it's just scary to think that 1 in 5 people out there are walking around unvaccinated. And my child who can't have the vaccine,
Yep.
Has to be out there. And I thought 80% means 1 in 5 aren't vaccinated.
Yeah, dude.
Is actually, and here we are going, oh yay, 80. Like I get herd immunity and all the rest of it, but that's still 1 in 5.
Yeah, dude.
And it jumps so dramatically. If you can just push to that 90%, that's 1 in 10.
Yeah.
A drastic difference.
And these numbers are so that the trend line eventually goes to 0 if you get beyond a certain threshold. Doesn't mean that it immediately goes to 0. It's just it'll eventually get to 0. People still die for a long time if you just get to the threshold, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Tesla Ranger put down unvaccinated are 11 times more likely to die of COVID-19. Not fully vaccinated individuals are 4.5 times more likely to get infected from Delta. Yeah.
Andy, I'm not a violent man.
Yep.
But when people say the vaccinated still get it, I want to hurt them.
I know.
I want to hurt them because, we get it, but we ain't gonna die. That's the point that they miss. That extra little bit, we ain't gonna die.
Yeah.
You are. We're all gonna get it, but you're gonna die.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, man. I feel you, man.
Sorry.
And you have every right to be angry. Big Zebra, I did notice that Dr. Sanjay Gupta from CNN was on the Joe Rogan podcast. I saw it on Twitter, actually. Gupta has a good article out there talking about his 3-hour conversation with Joe Rogan. And I'll probably cover it tomorrow, to tell you the truth. I wasn't going to talk about it today because I literally just read it just before the first show started. But it was a 3-hour conversation. And Gupta says, look, I probably didn't sway Joe Rogan at all, but hopefully there's a couple of people in his audience that did get swayed. So, I don't know. But congratulations again for going over there.
Any sense being talked through or over Joe Rogan is good. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a positive.
It is a positive. And the thing is, right, as we know as skeptics and atheists and humanists, is that, you could talk to someone and they won't change overnight, right? It takes repeated conversations to help, sway someone from their delusional belief system, basically.
That's something that I started wondering. Or what's up, Sam?
I just while I remember. Something you said recently about you were reading how it's so hard to convince people out of their thinking, but even once you do, they will lapse back to it.
Exactly.
Well, with this, I've often mentioned a person at work who is very suspicious about vaccines and brought the video to me of the person with the magnet on the arm. Well, and as I said, she got it. She got her first jab.
Good.
And she sent me a video of her putting a thing on her arm and it stuck. And I don't think I responded actually, but when I saw it at work next, I said, so you're still magnetic? And she said, oh, no, I put it on the other arm and it stuck as well. I think it was probably the sunscreen because I'd been at the beach that day.
How about this? If you have a compass somewhere and if the compass goes crazy when you're close by, just sticking something on your body isn't going to prove anything, as Paul Cameron showed us.
But the thing that I don't understand, or I do understand, but I guess it just boggles the mind, is that these are somewhat quite intelligent people that are falling for this shit and normally don't fall for conspiracies, and very, right-minded, very sort of left-leaning, atheistic, but are falling for this vaccine stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a fad.
Well, that's what it is. These memes, these memes in the sense of Richard Dawkins was talking about memes. They are contagious, and some of them are toxic, and they just hold on to people, and they just spread like wildfire. And social media, of course, just is an accelerant to stupidity.
Yeah, and there's no filter. It's just, the next thing scrolls up on the screen and they watch, and there's no one there saying, this is bullshit. This isn't bullshit. This one's bullshit.
Right. Intelligent people can be still tricked. They're actually quite good at justifying erroneous beliefs. You're right about that, Dragons and Genesis. I think about how people were able to justify an Earth-centered solar system with the moon going in epicycles, right? Basically going around and around and around and around. The math kind of worked out, but you had to make this moon do really crazy things. And the thing is,
clearly didn't do.
No, which it clearly didn't do. And the thing is, right, intelligence, and we're going to talk about broadly what intelligence is. It's basically data crunching abilities, right? It's basically puzzle solving stuff, taking in information, being able to use it, utilize it, and synthesize it. But if you don't have the skeptic's toolbox, once again, then even if you have a high CPU speed, that doesn't mean that you're a good skeptic necessarily.
If there's no apps installed, the computer ain't going to do much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or it's going to run, gunk in, gunk out, right? So think of it like this, if you get gunk information in, and if you're really smart, you're going to get higher quality or more resilient crap out, basically. Yeah.
And it's funny now, like, the further you get, for someone who's an ex-theist, the further you get from theism, the more you can see that stuff, and it begins to stink. Like, you see it a mile away, it stands out like dog's balls. Sorry, that's probably a bit Australian, but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, man.
Like, it's sickening to me, just like to watch the stuff that my mum's still indoctrinated by and that I was once indoctrinated by, and it's like, that's a big shift in one's mind. And I see why it is so hard to shift people. It's worlds apart that we're expecting them to be able to move, essentially. And no one likes change at all, let alone to have their whole world view turned upside down.
Exactly.
You have to almost want it.
Well, I think you're spot on with that. Is that a lot of what therapy does, it just opens up these different this kind of space for you to explore different ideas in a safe way, right? And so I think that's what is probably one of the best ways, or one of the best tools therapists use, is just creating the space that a person can actually talk about things and try to reason and feel things through, through the things that are holding them back.
Pasta Mike on normalizing atheism. he put something up on his Facebook group talking about what makes a person an atheist. I think that I'm wording the title wrong, but it was basically talking about intuitive people and analytical people, and like, is there a correlation with that and that making it to where somebody is an atheist? But like for me, whenever I was getting there, my skeptical toolbox was not very big. It was very small, very little in it. And I think I went by a lot more feelings and stuff like that, emotionally driven.
Mm-hmm.
But I still came to the conclusion. I got myself to that point where I was like, you know what? I really don't think this thing does exist. I think it is more likely that it doesn't. You know, I got there. You know, I'm not the most educated person, but I got there. I am curious about this though. What is it that divides us? Because there are some people who are like hardcore Christian, but they're also really fucking intelligent too. I'm like,
I mean, I can only speak for my, well, this is anecdotal, but I'm definitely more given to religious experiences, especially when I was younger, basically because I was primed. But also, and I always like to compare my growing up with my girlfriend's growing up, is that her parents tried to indoctrinate her into the church, the one true church, the Catholic Church, and she immediately saw it was bullshit. But I think different brains, interact with the material differently. And I was like,
I wonder if it's like exposure to it, or is it that like I allowed myself to think about it, like that's what I wonder. Is it like exposure? The more we hear the idea that a person gets comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I think that scholars are starting to, well, not starting to, I think it's been pretty accepted for some time, but I am talking out of my ass. Just a advisory there at the start. But we have been, God damn it. I hate when that happens. What did you say, Tobin?
I wonder if it's exposure to the idea that, the amount of times you've been, shown the idea, then you start to allow yourself to think about it.
So at the, I guess on a psychological level, they've done brain scans and things and obviously found that different parts of this brain do light up when thinking religiously. And so we do have it. I guess they're saying we have a part of our brain that will tend towards this, the word I'm going to use the word ethereal thinking.
Right.
And I think you then combine that with, it could be a number of things for, different people. For me personally, like I remember that even after leaving religion, or not religion, sorry, leaving the religion, the cult, I was nowhere near ready to let go of a belief in something. I wanted there to be something like, I didn't care if it was witchcraft or demonism or Buddhism. Like, I knew there was something. There had to be something, not based on anything other than probably pure feels. So it's like that primitive brain, whatever that's going on, that we then combine that with our environment. We grow up in a Christian society, we're going to be Christians, so on. But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, my growing up is more similar to Andy's girlfriend's experience where grew up in a religious family, but it was just like, these are just stories.
Hmm.
Why should I take them as anything more than just stories?
Yeah.
And for a long time, I would basically just be playing along with the stories. And when I first heard the concept of atheism, I was like, yep, that's what I am.
The girlfriend. This is interesting. My parents forced me to get confirmed in the Catholic Church, and I just found out that my sister never was. What? A little bit of family drama right there. Well, I didn't know
Well,
that. I'm finding out for the first time about that your sister never got confirmed. That seems hypocritical to me. I would say that that's correct. If there was a double jeopardy, you would have won double jeopardy right there.
well, I was gonna say if you die and wake up in heaven, girlfriend, you'll be like, well, damn. At least the sister misses out. At least you're saved.
So this has been two thoughts I had. One is that I don't know if anyone's ever seen the video of that you just found out yesterday. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Sammy, with the die and wake up in heaven, the one that I'm always amused by is the concept of die, wake up in heaven, and you only see other atheists there.
Because all the theists went to hell.
Yeah. It's as plausible as their version.
Yeah. Oh, it makes more sense, actually. I think it's a bit more plausible.
Um,
But what were you going to say, Andy?
I had two thoughts. One, I don't know if anyone's seen the video of the God helmet. It's this magnetic helmet, and this is a real thing. You can look it up. And I'm going to say the most stupid thing I've said for quite a while. You can look up the video on YouTube. So it's a God helmet, and supposedly, and this is from like a legitimate source too, that they can create the feeling of the other. Because when you talk about real religious experience, at least a particular type of religious experience, it feels like the impingement of the other into your psyche. That's what a type, and yeah, that might sound a little psychotic too, by the way. But the thing is, they can by putting this helmet on you and play, and I'm sure someone in the chat has seen this, and playing around with, I think, magnets. It is possible for you to have a religious experience or an experience of having someone else with you who isn't there physically. It's crazy.
Yeah, I want to do it, man.
A prayer helmet. That's right, Dr. Moore.
I really want to try it. Hey,
yeah.
It would be a trip.
And I will also say this is that there's, and I'm looking at an article from Psychology Today, which isn't, once again, it isn't a scholarly periodical by any count, but they do mention a couple of papers about how people on the spectrum may be more likely to be atheists.
Say that one more time.
I read the
more
same
likely,
thing, Andy.
huh?
People on the spectrum, on the autistic spectrum, are more likely to be atheists. There's a couple of studies out there, and I'm just looking at this write-up about the studies in Psychology Today from like 2012. I don't know if that's been debunked. I don't know what the current state of research is, but that's what I've heard in the past.
In my experience,
I'm okay with that.
In my experience, it seems like it's more likely to be more on the edges of whether you're religious. Of you're definitely religious or you're not in religion, instead of just mushy of yay religion. That's
right.
That's my anecdotal experience.
I like that. I like the concept that you're either balls in or you're balls out.
Yeah. Especially in America.
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah, I know a lot of autistic people being in the community myself. So there's the people who are like, they're religious and that wear it on their sleeve and all stuff like that. Then there are the people who are like, yeah, we don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't really know that many people who are like just nominally religious in that area. So
I want to see studies done into personality disorders and
Yeah.
religion. That's
Yeah.
the big one. I don't know why someone hasn't thought about that before.
Well,
Not because I've never liked people. Not liked people. I've never liked when people call religiosity or theism a mental illness. You can think it. Maybe I think that, but I don't like if people that voice it or claim that just you're a Christian, so you have a mental illness.
right.
I don't like that.
I think if you're a fundamentalist,
Yeah.
this is a correlation thing here, that I don't know what the positive correlation is on the graph between becoming more religiously extreme and the incidence of mental illness, but I think there's some kind of relationship there. There's some kind of relationship. And that's extreme within the culture. So if you're in a traditional, if you're in Saudi Arabia, for example, right, or in India, out in the rural areas, there are some people who are in a highly religious community, but even there are some people in those communities that other people look at and say, wow, they really take this shit seriously. Maybe they should level it down a little bit,
It's fascinating is not the right word.
Terrifyingly, there should be a word. There should be a German. There should be a German word, and tell me if I'm wrong on this.
There would be.
That marries terrifying with interesting. Like, wow, that's really cool. That's really interesting, but I am terrified of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't watch, but you can't
I'm
look away.
intified.
Yeah.
It's like Mormons' special underwear. What? Tell me about the Mormon special underwear.
You don't know about that, 420?
No, I have a vague recollection that it's a thing.
Every Mormon every practicing Mormon, from what I understand, wears underwear certified by the church. It comes from a particular manufacturer. And I'm not exactly sure. And this is a Googleable thing. This is, I'm not making it up. It sounds like something you would make up. But
but they're dead serious about it.
Is there a link there between why? Not that I go to this site, but people have told me that Mormons are quite a thing on Pornhub.
I dimly remember seeing stories about the search engine use of in Utah or in heavily Mormon. So one of my friends who was in, this is back in the day, in the who was gay. He reported, once again, only anecdotal, that he hooked up with quite a few God-fearing Jesus dudes from the Mormon Church, from the LDS Church. You repress it so much, the behavior bubbles up somewhere. I imagine.
Yeah, my most amusing story that I've heard about Mormon porn is something known as bubble porn.
What?
It's a loophole that they're able to get around certain mental blocks for their pornography use, where they look at people who technically are scantily clothed, not naked, but they only have like bubbles of opening area where they are not wearing clothes, so that they can imagine that the blocked off areas they're not wearing clothes, but technically the people photographed were wearing clothes there.
Are you making this up, Dr. Tom
No.
Cooley? Well, you, sir, are going against your moniker of boring guy with that. I just want to say that.
So it's basically just, imagine just covering a picture with construction paper and then cutting out circles in certain parts of it so that you see the areas that happen to be where they're not wearing clothes, but technically the photo underneath was of them wearing clothes.
Wow. That seems like a lot of work.
Yeah.
That does seem like a lot of work. I haven't heard of soaking Tesla Ranger. Can you explain it in a PG friendly way?
That's an idea that I first came aware of through the Amish Mafia. It was a TV show that was on
like an
for a
episode
little
of that.
while.
That's
And
what I like.
basically it's where,
And Tesla Ranger has
members can, like, they lay there and there's no motion to it. They're just like inside of each other, but you can just
Oh,
you
that's
don't
right.
move.
Yeah, they just put it in and then just stay there and don't move. But I'm telling you, there's no movement. There's no boy who's gonna put his PP in there, and even just like the action of how your penis stays hard by pumping blood in.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have to squeeze your duodenum, your Chad, the bit in between your asshole and your balls. That muscle squeezes and the penis pumps, like gets harder. It actually will throb, and just that motion alone. Anyway, we're getting quite detailed, but it's all bullshit. They're still rooting.
Oh, obviously, yeah. There's
You know,
in one of the more sadder ways.
just do it. You're there. It's in.
If I remember correctly, the Amish thing, they actually have, like, where they have an adult who's like there to watch and make sure. So they're like, not only it is just so strange. It is just so freaking strange.
Yeah, just the concept of people having strict rules within the religion, then a whole industry of let's figure out how to work around all these rules.
Yeah.
Just like, and the thing with the super religious Orthodox Jews in New York City, how they have a wire that goes around a large section of New York City so that they can circumvent one of their Sabbath rules about carrying stuff outside.
Yeah.
On the Sabbath.
Yeah.
It's just extra work. It's weird. Like, just stop beating yourself up about certain little issues and enjoy yourself. Like, I have a hard time with people who are like doing that. Like, it just makes me want to like shake them a little bit, slap them around, and be like, "Come on, what are you doing?
I get angry.
What are you doing?"
It's just they're clinging on to their bullshit, but breaking their own rules. Like, in their mind, maybe taking it right to the edge. They've clearly crossed their own lines.
Yeah.
But they're okay with it. And it's just fucking hypocrisy. You know? Pure hypocrisy.
But the concept of a loophole in your religious rules so you technically can do things is...
Well, how's this for... This isn't even a loophole. This is just blatant.
Can I just restate? Give me a second, 420. So, Robin, if you normally contribute to, and this is just a general policy that we've had because we've had a bunch of trolls come through here and try to like throw up porn on these after party after shows on these open rooms. So once again, restating the policy is that if you're part of the community, you can come on. In other words, if you see the videos, comment in the chat, we build up some kind of trust, then you can come on the show, basically. But first timers, just out of the block, I don't know who you are. There's no faith. There's no faith. There's no trust. So I can't let you on. I'm sorry.
We're all faithless here.
Yeah, we're all faithless. I'm just referring to someone who's trying to pop in. So yeah. All right. Okay. I'm sorry, Sammy. You want to go back?
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Oh,
there-
how really scary is this? So the JWs have a secret book for their elders called Shepherd the Flock
Mhm,
that they're not allowed to show
of
the
course.
rank and file.
Right.
And
Oh wow,
one
I've
of the
not seen this.
yeah, I'll send you some links later. And one of the things in it says that if someone has sinned and say confesses or gets caught, but the sin occurred more than a few years ago, it may be enough just to reprimand them and, two elders have a chat and that's it.
Mhm.
And in context, the examples that were used was murder, through to fornication and adultery and so on.
All right.
But the rules were, as long as they were repentant, they've shown that they're sorry. They wished they'd have come forwards. They knew they should have come forwards. That, it's all good.
Right.
I just watched this last night. I watched Kendra's into this. I'm not really, but every once in a while I get kind of like, hey, what's up, John?
How you doing? Just had to jump in when he was talking about Mormons.
Mormons.
I got experience them for 50 fucking years plus.
Mormons.
Right on.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I was saying that I watched an interrogation of a guy who murdered 3 women, and he brought up the commandments and stuff. He started like in the beginning of his interrogation, he was bringing up God and stuff like that, and it was just like how we're talking about, like they're doing that loophole so they can like be like, oh, I'm still in favor with God, but yet I'm gonna do what I I feel necessary.
Yeah.
But it gets disgusting. Like this was like I legitimately watched a real investigation, or yeah, that had the camera footage and the audio file of the officer interrogating the dude. It's mind-boggling. It's disgusting.
It seems that people can rationalize their behavior.
Yeah.
Having any and all sins forgiven just by confession or whatever is the ultimate loophole.
Yeah. It seems to be an ingredient. It seems to be a recipe for bad behavior. That's what it does.
Or like the classic loophole that people would do is they would only actually become Christian on their deathbed and all that, so that they could sin and do all the stuff during the entire lifetime because they weren't Christian during their lifetime, but then they became Christian on the deathbed to get all the benefits.
So I'm back. Sorry, I had to run away. But the point that I wanted to make about that book is that in the witnesses, the majority of the CSA, I hope you all know what that stands for. I don't want to say it because it often gets streams
The
not shown and
Confederate
stuff.
blah blah.
Child.
Yeah. Okay. All right. See, I always think CSA means the Confederate States of America. That's what kind of geek I am. I'm sorry.
I was.
Because it's really bad with the Jehovah's Witnesses. But it's mainly the elders take advantage of their position. And they're the only ones who are aware of this loophole that if you get away with something for long enough, you won't be punished. later on down the line.
A statute of limitation, huh?
Okay, so Sam, let me ask a clarifying question. So let's say I'm a Mormon, and I butchered a bunch of people, maybe 10 years ago. I don't know what the statute of limitations is.
Isn't it JW, not Mormon?
Oh, is it? What is it? Is it JW or Mormon? What is it?
Yeah,
JW.
he's talking about the JW.
Yeah.
Okay, so JW. All right, so I'm sorry. So many different sects to get. There's a pun there too. I'm sorry. So let's say I'm JW and I butchered a busload of kids maybe 20 years ago. Does that mean I'm cool? If I confess it, or talk to an elder about it?
If you feel bad about it.
If I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Because those kids will go to paradise. You'll go to paradise. We'll all go to paradise.
Wow.
Wow.
D Parks, I'd be
Have
remiss.
picnics with pandas.
So D Parks writes, I've got my 16-year-old into Dr. Kennard now. That's dangerous. That's a gateway drug, D. Yesterday she had a regular checkup and we had to do some paperwork. And then she nudged me when she got to the religion section and asked me if I could put Canadian in the blank. I think you're insulting Canadian somehow, but Canardian, sure, I'll go with that. I fully support Canardian.
The Reverend
Heck
Kennard. Yeah, we got a shitload of rain last night. Got about 3 inches of rain in about a 2-hour period.
Yeah, dude, I heard that we were talking about it earlier. Tobin was sharing that. And there's some kind of massive tropical storm of some kind heading up. Heading up to Texas.
Was a cold front come from the north and one coming up from the Pacific through Mexico, and then the Gulf moisture. And it all kind of collided over Blanco last night. And then Hayes County, I opened up 2 cisterns. I picked up 9,000 gallons of water.
No shit, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So those are underground cisterns you have?
No, they're above ground.
Okay.
They're above ground. They come off my shop roof and
Nice.
feed them in back. So it was getting kind of down, and I hate the well water here.
Yeah.
It's so fucking hard. You don't have to be Jesus to walk on it.
I forget who it was. Someone left a comment on one of the videos from a couple of days ago. Lived out in California and said that a lot of their wells are bad, and some of the wells have, when digging for water, they found salt water where it had always been fresh water in the past, and so that's a disturbing story. Once again, an anecdotal story, but still scary.
Said aquifer's getting low then.
Yeah.
It's concentrated to be that salty.
Yeah, indeed.
Ours is just the limestone. It's so damn hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good for irrigation, but I really like the rainwater for bathing and washing clothes in and such. It gives you the soft hair and skin. Rainwater's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, like out in Hudspeth, Texas.
Oh God.
You can't. That's out west Texas, like near El Paso. You cannot use the well water there. They have contaminated it from all their
fracking.
And the way they grow stuff, all the runoff from that. But you legitimately cannot use the well water. There's well water there for you to take, but you don't want it.
Well, there's a lot of pecan orchards out there too, out in the middle of nowhere. But makes you wonder if they have to feed it with that water. Obviously, makes you wonder what the nuts will do to you. Now, got me thinking there, Tobin.
This is what I don't like about YouTube. Many things I don't like about YouTube. But in one of these recommended videos, right at the top, Jordan Peterson, the collapse of our values is a greater threat than climate change. Holy fuck.
What?
It's a recommended video because I have a second screen open because I use my laptop to interact with you all. And then if I have to moderate, I use my iPad over here. And underneath, it's the, suggested videos. First one at the top, Jordan Peterson. The collapse, and this is the name of the video of his talk, the collapse of our values is a greater threat than climate change. And I'm like, you're wrong, Dr. Peterson. So,
and California's got some of the worst freaking wildfires that, it's been blown away their history. There's been like the hurricanes are getting much stronger and hitting harder. Yeah.
I think that you could actually, I think that you can probably put that to a study and show that that's so untrue. that a collapse of morality, whatever that means, which is of course that's not what's happening, is worse than that's just the kind of crap that guy spews in this word salad mix that comes out of his mouth.
I used to take the time to look up what he was saying. Like I hear words at times, and before I really try to dismiss their argument or whatever, I will look it up and then try to piece it together. And then, but he really is. He is like the godfather of the word salad.
Yeah,
like that's where I picked up that term, the word salad. Like because it's just like words that don't even fit together in a way.
Yeah.
Whose morals? Is what I want to know. I think we all have a little bit different interpretation of what that is.
Indeed. And you can definitely make a cogent argument that the moral arc of justice is doing quite well right now in terms of shaking up people's bigotry, prejudice, that we've had as a culture for generations. Jordan Peterson.
So
just another conservative.
You're all American, right? Sorry, you're all in the States, correct?
We're all in the States.
Hell no, me and Tobin's Texans.
Texas,
Except Tobin and John.
yeah, Texas is a whole nother country.
We're in the United State of Texas. But explain to me, because I always thought the word amendment, and I've looked it up here, and it says a minor change or addition designed to improve a text or piece of legislation, etc.
Yeah, it's not for us.
Why do Americans cry about their goddamn Constitution when it is nothing but amendments?
Yeah.
Because they're treating it like their Bible.
Well, you can't fuck with our Constitution.
Yeah.
But it's been amended how many times? Just make an amendment, and then it's the Constitution.
Yeah.
There are people who advocate revoking all of the amendments in the United States. That group does exist.
Yeah. This is true. And when you look at the original document, what is it? Slaves were considered to be 3/5, maybe 3/4 of a white person, of a free person when
3/5 compromise to when determining representation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, senators weren't elected by the people in the original Constitution. There's all these crazy things. I mean, judicial review isn't in the U.S. Constitution. The power for the Supreme Court to state a law is illegal is not in the Constitution. So the Constitution is a living document, and it's meant to change over time.
And exactly.
Open
and I just
source.
find it funny when people throw out, it's my Second Amendment right. You can't mess with my this amendment right. And I'm like, you're saying the word amendment. Do you not understand what that means?
Right. And how it's changed over time. The interpretation.
It changes.
The interpretation of the Second Amendment changed, was altered dramatically during the 1970s and onward. There was a little junta,
for the non-Americans. That's the gun one, right?
That is the gun one, as against to the Second Commandment, which is about graven images. Though you can make it. I love my joke about Christians confusing the Second Amendment or people not knowing what the Second Amendment is while holding fast to the Second Amendment. Yeah, they don't know what the Second Commandment is, but they love the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, I'm gonna have to close things down because it's that time and I have to go to work. Panel.
Good
Thank
day.
you. So normal show tomorrow from 9 to 9:25, but no after party after show. Take care, everyone. Thanks, observers, lurkers, commentators. See you tomorrow.